Being 10 o'clock, according to the clock at the front of the room, call the infrastructure committee to order. Notice meeting was properly posted on August the 4th. Item 1 is to approve the minutes of July 25. Is there a motion?
So move.
And I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
2, discussion of possible action regarding HVAC issues on the 9th floor of the courthouse.
Purchasing did give us quotes on the replacement chilled water heating and cooling units. That comes back, I think, at nearly $100,000 to do the entire 9th floor, excluding connecting water pipes, any kind of plumbing, and condensate drain work necessary.
So in addition to the 100,000 there, you have an estimated cost on those things that you just mentioned? You said that 100,000 didn't include.
That included only the units themselves inside the 9th floor. That does not include any of the associated piping, controls, condensate lines, or the labor to do the install.
Is there a guesstimate on what that would be?
Not yet. We're still working on that.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor, do you have anything?
On that item, I'm good.
Okay, you want to receive that update?
Motion to receive.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
3, discuss possible action regarding courthouse elevator upgrades.
Work continues.
Unless you all have questions, I don't see a need for any action. Okay. 4, discussing possible action regarding our agreement with Vicinity.
Nothing new.
Okay, no action there. 5 is an update on our capital projects specific to the TIF 2.
Been working with all the parties concerned. Consensus is move some of the files to the west end of 2. Would like to take the purchasing space on the west end of 1 and move the books down there, moving purchasing up to the 3rd floor. And that might take care of the issue. Any overage would go on the south side of the west end. Don't know how much space we'd really need there, if any at all, once we unload the weight of the books and get them repositioned in the space that we've just talked about. There's a couple items later on this list to talk about more specifics of costs and schedules. And that would, once the books get out of the way, we can get on with our first floor project.
Do you all have questions? Is there a motion to receive this update?
So move.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
6 is our TIF 2 and TIF 2A budgets. Stacy?
There's no changes.
Do you all have questions? Okay, no action. 7 is the capital improvements list.
No changes there.
So if we go ahead and those items that are later approve those, you'll just update the list accordingly. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. See any action necessary there either. 8 is our item related to the transfer, maintenance, and repair of the infrastructure, security infrastructure equipment. Anything new here? Okay. No action unless there's questions. 9 is the item that Stacy mentioned just a moment ago. It's the relocation of purchasing from the 1st floor west end to the 3rd floor old MIS space.
I don't know whether
or not
there,
anyway.
This came through as an attachment.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay. You'll see that area in purple designated as purchasing. It makes up 1,185 square feet. And I believe the cost to remodel that space, it's removal of existing walls, replacing the flooring, some ceiling work, take into account wall repairs, electrical work, communications, access controls, and perhaps some fire suppression at $100 a square foot. I believe we can get the job done for that. That would bring purchasing in remodel of that space right at $120,000.
A couple of questions. I appreciate wanting to remodel. The space could not be utilized as is.
That's a question for Chantel. I'm sure she's happy to respond.
We treated this as a permanent move. So when Keith came to us asking questions, or came to me asking questions, my response was to mirror the current space. So that's what you see here. If we did move as is, we could not, it would not be a lateral change. Our furniture is actually too big for the current spaces as they are now. So we would have to consider the cost of downsizing, whether it be smaller furniture or somehow piecing things together, but that hasn't really been explored.
Okay, and then since this may be a permanent location change, the space would be adequate in the event your staff grew. You can make it work.
It would just depend on the furniture. If we could all fit in there, basically. Right now, I couldn't even fit the 4 desks that I have in those offices. So if there's smaller ones, room for filing and storage, then I think it could work. Not sure how much growth would happen to the purchasing office. It's been a pretty small office historically, but I'm not sure to what degree you're talking about growth. If it's just 1 or 2, then I think that could work. But if it's like bringing in anybody that works with purchasing into the same space,
I don't know
I
what
don't know
that
if
might
that
look
would-
like. What
Okay.
I'm wanting to try to do is ensure if we spend upwards of 100,000 or more, that we've at least positioned ourselves for some time into the future.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that opening this space would allow more people to be in there for sure.
All right. And this would need to go out to bid as one comprehensive package.
I believe that would be the best. If it's over $100,000, yes.
Okay. So do you all, A, have any interest in doing this? Given that it's tied to our R1 project, I suspect that there probably is. Let me start there.
Yes.
Okay, all right. That being said, do you want to have them go ahead and put the bid together so that we can get an idea of actually what we're dealing with in terms of cost prior to recommending this to the board? Or just saying, we've messed around enough and regardless, we need to go forward? So a dual track, put it out to bid and make the recommendation to move forward.
There's what I like to do.
Okay, is that your motion or mine?
I'll second.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Taylor, do you have anything before we?
I'm here to vote.
Okay. All in favor of the dual track method just outlined? Say aye.
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 And Keith, the source of the funds.
There we go. Well, we got funds in our capital project account that we could access, and there's unencumbered funds of 60, where's Lambert? 60,000, is that right?
I don't know.
In the capital account, seemed like. I could be off with that.
I think that there's a number around 50, as I recall, in the capital, plus our 300. So between those two, I believe we can.
If we're talking about 120, that's pretty easy lift.
Okay, all right. 10, discussion possible action regarding the county treasurer occupying the remainder of the space on the south side of the third floor, previously used by MIS.
That's right. There's 2,316 square feet. The county treasurer would like to remove the north wall separating their current space from this additional space, remove offices adjacent, leave a conference room and 2 offices there. This cost would be borne by the treasurer's department, and Janice is here to talk about the need and the idea.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're really trying to get bookkeeping where they have more space because right now they're just pretty much on top of each other. And they need more room. We're going to have to hire another person to come into bookkeeping and we have nowhere to put them. We're also going to knock out a wall and move our IT people closer to bookkeeping.
All right.
Will you still need that part that's in ICB building?
Yes, that's our storage.
And then Keith, in terms of a cost guesstimate, would this be something that we'd be going out to bid for as well? I assume with the demolition, et cetera. Okay.
Right.
So I think the same motion here as previously, with the exception that the cost would be borne by the treasurer.
Yes.
Okay, that would be my motion.
And that's my second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If you need any information from a displaced IT department, they're in the back of the room and can speak to any issues they have.
My understanding is they're all for it. Okay. Citizens' participation? Board comments, Mr. Taylor. Miles?
No, thank you.
None here. New business?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. We got to sit here a minute or two.
Technically. I've done enough things. He did test negative, but I think he's trying to catch up all the stuff he was restricted from going since he was quarantined. Is that right? Did you only back to or? 10:15.
All right, being 10:15 according to the clock on the front. Call the PBA advisory to order. Notice meeting was properly posted August 4. Item 1 is to approve the minutes of July 25th.
Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2 is an update regarding the ICB exterior envelope project.
Nothing new there.
Okay. No action unless you have questions. 3 is this companion item for the ICB regarding sheriff's personnel, equipment, etc. for security. Nothing there. Okay, no action. 4, discussion possible action regarding a repair to a column in the Metro 1 parking garage.
Recall last meeting, we had identified one column on the 6th floor of Metro 1. We'd had Zoll Ford come out and have a look at that to tell us how bad this is, whether or not it is a surface problem or whether there are real issues there. It seems to be only superficial. However, we looked at the rest of the columns after mapping the garage, and there are a number of them that are in need of the same kind of repair. It was suggested that we wait for the repair until we do an entire assessment of the parking garages, 1, and 2, to determine if there's any additional trouble that should be identified while we have contractors on site. And the next item, agenda item deals with that.
regard to item 4, you don't need any action.
Nothing now.
Okay, so now we'll go to item 5 is discussion possible action on the parking garage structural assessment.
We've gotten quotes from Zoll Ford Engineering for an assessment on both garages. That figure comes in, Metro 1 is $16,000. Metro 2 is $17,500. The last time this was done was over a decade ago. I think it needs to be done now before we address any singular area of need.
And Keith, the funds for the assessment would come from?
It would have to come from PBA reserve, but our funds are tied up as I understand it, so I'm not sure. You would have to either do some kind of a dance to unencumber funds and make them available for this project.
That seems easy enough. I'll make a motion that we recommend to PBA to engage in a parking garage structure assessment contract and unencumber the funds as necessary to do so from the PBA reserve.
Okay. And Miles, as part of that, timing wise, have Keith prospectively place something on to move the funds on budget board if necessary. Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, no, it's with the PBA. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yep. Okay.
Took me off for a second.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait,
I was
what?
thinking capital for a second, but different thing. Yeah. Okay, citizens' participation. Board comments? Miles?
Nothing.
Michael?
I'll pass.
None here. New business.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Put a check in the middle of the spread to the bottom of 6 and that's What? Sorry. I just got this. This is horrible.